All right, so I apologize. I forgot to hit record earlier. Missed the most amazing part of the talk already. But I'll try to repeat myself as we keep going. So the tangent points will be for negative pi over 2 to pi over 2. Now, again, I don't want you to have to like memorize the tangent points, so let's just look here and kind of use like ordered pairs. And then tangent is whatever what? Y over x. So at negative pi over 2, what's tangent? Y over x. Undefined. Let's go to pi over 2. What's tangent? Okay? Undefined, yeah. So the starting one and the ending one are undefined. How about let's go to 0, right in the middle. What's tangent? Y over x. 0. Okay. Now, negative pi over 4 and positive pi over 4. Tangent at any pi over 4s is where y and x are the same number. So it'll be 1 or negative 1, depends on which quadrant. So the first one is in the 4th quadrant. Tangent is negative in the 4th quadrant. And then in the 1st quadrant, tangent is positive. I went through a lot of explanation. That's because it's going to be confusing once you see cotangent. So I want you to be able to think through this and not have to memorize every tiny little thing. Do we have any asymptotes? We do. So put our asymptotes at negative pi over 2 to positive pi over 2. How far apart are those asymptotes? Okay. So my asymptote line, I'm going to write x equals. My first one is at pi over 2 plus, and then they're pi apart, so I'll write k pi, where k is an integer. And then we'll put our points in. And then when you connect, this is the part where some people struggle, and they'll come around and look at your papers to see if you're needing assistance. Is the concavity when you draw them. So the asymptotes, they are going to have to get closer and closer to the asymptotes, but don't feel like you have to immediately go to the asymptote. Just want to get gradually closer to it. And when the part of tangent is going up, from the center up, it's going to have a concavity that is opening up. When it's going from the center down, the concavity is opening down. So it should be kind of like two smooth curves stuck together. Maybe like a parabola that one side just went down. So you're getting closer to the asymptotes, but don't feel like you have to immediately be on the asymptote. It's a gradual process. When you have it graphed, it just looks so pleasing, like waves in the sand or on the beach. Oh, makes you want to go there now, huh? Just me? What? All right. How about the rest of our information? The period. How far apart is one full cycle before it repeats itself? Pi. So that's the parent function period. So if I have a stretch or a horizontal stretch or strain, it's going to go to pi. It's going to affect pi. Domain is going to be the same as the asymptotes, except not equal to these points or these lines. And then the range, how far down and how far up does it go? Do we jump over any numbers? So then, negative infinity to positive infinity. Excellent. All right, now we're going to do cotangent. And cotangent is a lot like tangent, except it's reciprocated. So the period for cotangent is going to be pi as well. It's just going to be in a slightly different location. The points are going to be different. So we were talking about arctan. Let's talk about arcotangent for a moment. What were the domain restrictions when we did arcotangent? 0 to pi. Guess what they are for the graph? 0 to pi. It's going to be the same. Because it's the same, you're going to remember them. Now from there, I don't have anything else memorized. I'm just going to say, what is the exact middle of 0 to pi? Pi over 2. And then what's exactly in the middle of 0 to pi over 2? Pi over 4. And then exactly in the middle of pi over 2 to pi. That's 3 pi over 4. And if you need to look at your picture that you put up in the top corner to figure those out, look at your picture. Then I'm going to use my ordered pairs. What is cotangent x over y at 0? Undefined. I'll just do the quadrantals first. At pi over 2, y, or x over y is 0. At pi, it's undefined. And then at pi over 4, what quadrant? First quadrant, so it's going to be a positive 1. And then 3 pi over 4 is second quadrant, so it'll be a negative 1. So looking at your tangent and your cotangent key points, you can see how people who memorize them, sort of, might make mistakes and get them backwards or confused. And that happens. I don't want that to be you. I don't want that to happen to you. So if you think about it, it's going to make more sense than if you just slap numbers down so you think you have them memorized. Okay, let's graph the asymptotes, 0 to pi. And then continue that pattern. Looks like they are pi apart. My first one is at 0, so I'll say my asymptotes are x equals. And you can write 0 plus, I'm not going to write it anymore. It's going to be k pi, where k is an integer. It means my domain is x does not equal. Then pi over 1. And just watch your concavity. If the point goes from the center up, the concavity opens up. The point goes from the center down, it opens down. The period is pi, and the range goes from negative infinity to positive infinity. When you're ready to go on, turn that over and start looking at the next example. Concavities. Make sure that they look okay. It's a little funky. Like I would make it a little less funky. Nice. That's not usually the worst thing that I see though. I'll see something in here, I'm sure. All right, so go ahead and try the next example on your own, and then we'll go over it together. I'm gonna pause this video.
not going to talk for a moment. Okay, so I gave you guys a moment to start working on this. What's the first thing that you should notice about this equation? You have to factor out the 1/2. If you do not factor out the 1/2, like some of you forgot to do in your assignment, then you're going to have your phase shift wrong. You're going to have your horizontal translation wrong. So we have 2 tangent 1/2 parenthesis x minus. So you can factor out by dividing out a half or by multiplying by 2. Normally what I do is I just kind of think backwards. A half times what number gives me pi over 8. So if I multiply by a half, I'm multiplying straight across. 1 times pi is going to give me pi. 2 times what is going to give me 8. 4. So that's how I think about factoring it. And then you're starting to put in your values. Since this is tangent, you're putting in undefined. You're going to multiply your y's by 2, then you're going to add 3 to those. On the x side, we're going to multiply by 2 because you do the opposite of multiply by half. You do the reciprocal. And then after that, you're going to do what with the pi over 4? We're going to add pi over 4 because it is subtraction belongs to opposite for the x's. If you are working ahead, which is totally fine, you can try the next one as well. I have a mistake on the next one. So make sure you find my mistake before you do the next one. Okay, I'm going to pause the video again so you can have time to finish this one if you haven't, and then we'll go over the answer. So as you were working, I went ahead and put the answer to the first one up so you can check to see if you're doing it right. Just a couple minutes. I think you just overemphasize the phones just a little bit. That's all. It's not like it's how far apart are the asymptotes? Okay, it might be kind of hard to see where they're at right here, but if you just take 1/4 back, it's going to go from negative pi to positive pi, which is 2 pi long. So there are 2 pi k apart. It would just be pi. Yeah. So they're different than the other 4. So if you're working ahead, I have a mistake on the next one. You should be able to figure out that mistake as you're working ahead. I don't know if you have anything else to do. You're just copying my answers down. You aren't going to actually retain this as well as if you do it yourself. And then look to see if you're right.
Oh, yeah. That's it.
This is how the mistake of the whole. Okay, so you have this concavity correct. And you're looking at it over here, but like they always have to do this. And get the concavity, fun following that same pattern, and eventually you'll get it. And you don't have to check it. So then we're gonna do. Okay. That's a very common. Not yet, but it should be, but not yet. You don't know. What is the first non-negative oxygen? So start here deal with the first non-negative oxygen. So write X equals pi over 4 or X is not equal to. Your first non-negative. And then how far apart are they? If you go on the acid right, right? So how far apart? X does not equal to X. The first one to the right plus 2 pi K. There's not another like point of inflection here. So what you want to do? I know it has to go to the acetone, but it doesn't have to go immediately to the acetone. So once you pass through that second point, just keep that same curve. Okay, so then this one's going to come down. See that point? See how you put like an extra thing in there? Alright, you got it? Alright. If you're starting that last one, I have a mistake. It's not like it's long. Yes, in this one it's a good, but in cosecant and secant it's not. So I don't want you to generalize that take like how far apart they are. Okay? Did you figure out what my mistake was? Okay, I'm gonna scroll up so you can see what my mistake was if you didn't figure it out yet. A lot of you have already finished this, and I'll hang out your worksheet and you can check your answers. But so I, like to be efficient, and when I make up worksheets and then I get up a ton of worksheets, I like to copy and paste things. So I copy and pasted the table, but that doesn't work. Why? They have different points. So, oops. You're going to have to white out or scroll out the points that I gave you and fix it because I messed up. And then I printed them all. And then I forgot I had messed up. So you got the wrong copy. Sorry. The same thing happened in your homework worksheet. I know. So I'm going to pass out that too. Please try this one and check your answers. And if you've already done it and you're checking your answers, go fix the ones I messed up on in the homework immediately. Sorry. I don't think even any mistake. I know you all think I'm perfect. I know you were thinking that, like, oh my gosh, it's so weird. It's so perfect. You a little bit. So I didn't mess up on every single question, only the cotangent. Because I copy and pasted the tangent. Table. So with that worksheet, make sure you go and fix those
X values for cotangent before you forget over, tonight or whatever.